Scott Nichols, Specialist in Cyber Threats, abre a programação da tarde do palco Technical Tracks com o tema Inside Nation State Cyber Attacks.
Otard, thank you for coming. I wanted to start out to say I'm Scott Nichols. I'm currently with ACS, and I'm here to talk to you about nation-state actors. Hopefully you all know what that is, but for those of you who are not 100% sure, nation-state actors are different than hackers, even though they fall in a category of hackers. They're state-sponsored hackers. What that means is they have the resources of a country behind them, not just code that they develop on their own, code that's developed by large groups of people, very advanced. It's not the typical thing you find, and it's beyond probably what most of you will understand. Hopefully you'll have a better understanding after this briefing. They're on your networks, I'm telling you now. They're probably in everybody's network that's in here. If you have any significant type of business, and maybe even insignificant, they're there. They're quiet, they hide, and they're very difficult to detect. Their movement is almost invisible. You know, when something happens on your network, you're like, that's strange. There was no reason for that to happen. It's probably a sign that they're there. There's no explanation a lot of times. All right, here we go. Where are they? They're everywhere. They have access all over the world whenever they want it. They've been present in networks for long periods of times. This is not something that they are just in there for a week or they get detected right away. The way that they operate is very advanced. Their whole goal is to remain unseen. I want you to think about how long you think a typical nation-state actor would be in a network. I think you might be surprised. What are the motives? Power, leverage, and control. Now, I'm going to use some examples here. I'm going to take the liberty. I'm not saying that these are factual, but I'm very familiar with how nation-state actors work. I have a lot of experience in this area. I've seen a lot of things, and a lot of it's shocking. It's for power, leverage, and control. Well, what does that mean? It could be anything from hacking into an attorney's office, a lawyer, avocado, I think you call it. Why would they do that? Well, maybe there's a case for a large company, a lawsuit or something where these people would have information, they could have access to information to know what you're going to do, how you're going to respond. If they gain access to this information, it gives them leverage. It gives them power. Hypothetically, say they hacked into the Portugal power system, into the infrastructure, critical infrastructure, and they went and they wanted to go to one of your government leaders and say, you need to do this for us. And he said, like, no, what are you going to do about it? Well, you'll see in the next few days. And the power goes out. Did it happen? Was it a cyber attack? Was it a glitch in the software? Well, there's a lot more to know about that. A lot of nation-state actors make accidents look like they're a mistake in the code. That's the way they operate. It's so advanced that it makes it look like, oh, there was an error in the code. When they maybe introduced it. It could be in the firmware, in the hardware. There's so many options. Who are they? The key players are Russia, China, PRC, North Korea. North Korea is known for stealing cryptocurrency. That's one of their big targets. The USA, Israel, and Iran. All big players. They all have different agendas, and all different reasons at different times. What's the evolution of state-sponsored cyber activity? The early actors were just US, Russia, and China, because computers hadn't evolved. But now everything's turning into cyber. Everything's connected. Your phone, your devices at home, your locks, everything. Medical devices. What could they do with a medical device? Well, if it's administering you a certain type of medication, accidents happen. Maybe it's a glitch and you die. I'm not saying that this would happen, but I know you might think this is terrible, but it's not out of the question. Short-term tactical intrusions. They go where they want to go, when they want to go there. How do they get in? They have 0 days. Does anybody know what a 0 day is? It's an exploit that is undocumented, that people don't have a solution for. A lot of 0 days just came out recently from Cisco, and These are edge devices on the internet that control the internet. I guarantee you the reason that that vulnerability came to existence is because a nation-state actor screwed up and probably got his code caught. And this has probably been something that's been there for a while. I can't guarantee you that, but this is the way it happens. So you get short-term intrusions. Do I have a clock somewhere so I can keep track of the time? All right, just give me like 10 minutes finally. Midterm espionage campaign, 3 to 12 months. You're like, that's unbelievable. Long-term strategic infiltration, 1 to 5 years. Can you imagine an intruder being in your network for 5 years? Well, guess what? It goes much longer than that. I know for a fact that nation-states have been in networks, very substantial networks, for over 14 years. They know your admins. They know the people that work there better than sometimes the spouses. Their wives know them. They know their habits. They know everything about them. That's the goal, to learn to be like the admin. They can move like the admin in your network, and it's very hard to tell the difference. Infrastructure. What do they go after? Everything. There's no limit to what they go after. And there's a reason for each one of these, and I could go into it if I had more time. I'll touch on some of them. Internet disruption, power disruption, water treatment, dams. They can create all kinds of chaos. Well, why don't they do it? Well, because they don't do it unless they need to. But they're there ready to go. And at the right time, they could pull the trigger on a lot of these. The internet could be gone. Ask your young kids, in their 20s, they're teenagers, how they would survive without the internet. I think you probably know the answer to that. Satellites, communications, everything. Banks. I used to be a pen tester for banks. How many banks did I test? Almost every international bank. How many of them stopped me from getting in? None. Every single one was violated and gained maximum level access. I had a bank project where they used the B and the M key for money, billions and millions, so you didn't have to type it out. I was able to transfer that money all around, blind to them. They couldn't even see it. I'm an ethical hacker. I didn't do it as a black hat. Just keep that in mind. Here's an example. Well, we don't hear about the critical infrastructure. Here are real-world examples. Just a very few. A lot of these you're not going to hear about because they've stopped them or they keep them secret. How would you feel if the government told you that the Portuguese nuclear facility was violated by hackers? It would cause chaos and panic, just like the power outage. If they said it was a cyber actor, I think there'd be a lot of concern. You're not going to hear that. The government has, like all governments, has politics, bureaucracy. They need to maintain stability and control of the government. They're not going to tell you unless they have to. But here are a lot of examples. Russia, China, the Middle East, they're even attributed. There's APTs, Advanced Persistent Threats. Usually, a lot of times it's state-sponsored actors. But they've attacked all these things, the railways, the foreign ministry, governments everywhere. Your government probably gets attacked. They're not going to publish it on the front page of the newspaper. They don't want to. It creates doubt and uncertainty. U.S. critical infrastructure has been breached. It goes on. The list is endless. And these are just examples. Highly advanced technologies. Things, if I asked you if you thought, probably a lot of you have had education in cybersecurity, if I asked you if your phone could be breached if it wasn't connected to a network, most of you would say that's impossible. I mean, even the cellular network, you put it in airplane mode, nothing works. There are techniques to still breach your phone with it not connected to anything. It's a pretty advanced topic. It exists. It's a real thing. That's nothing. There's so much more. AP attacks on critical infrastructure. Oh, here comes the fun part. Supply chain examples. What does that mean? Well, you have parts that are shipped from one company to another or devices that are transported to your company. You order a phone system, whatever it is, and the adversary knows the path that this takes, and they could physically intercede in that path, alter the equipment on a hardware level, even chips. There are companies that I've done tests for of motherboards that have been breached because the adversary had replaced or modified chips on the motherboard. Who's going to find that? How many of you know how to look for that? False flag operations. Oh, China did it. Oh, the Russians did it. These adversaries go to the point where they take foreign software that is known adversarial software and use it to deceive the target, to make them think someone else did it. It might have been Russia that did it, but they made it look like China. They put code in from the Chinese. There's a lot of things. Leave no trace. They're experts at staying hidden. They either don't leave entries in your log files, or they know how to strategically remove them. You're not going to see it. And if they make a mistake, if you have that person in your organization that thinks there's always a reason for the problem, hold on to them, because you want those people, not the ones that give up. There's so many reasons that things can happen. Sometimes it takes a long time to figure it out. You can hide in the firmware. You know, malware can hide in a BIOS. It can hide in the firmware of a battery, in a hard drive's firmware. It can be in a hard drive. You take it and move it to another computer and rebuild the operating system, and it's still there. How do you get rid of that? 0 days. They have directories of 0 days. How do I know that? I'll show you here shortly. They just look at, he has an Apache server. He has a Windows box. What do I need? Click, take this, I'm on the box. And you know what? There's no signature for this. I don't care what vendors tell you that they find 0 days. They're not usually right. There's been leaks, shadow brokers. They had access to NSA tools, small amount of NSA tools. Vault 7, CIA tools. CIA's involved in this. I know some of you are like, yeah, we know. But everybody's involved. Anatomy of the nation-state attack. Initial access, how do they get on? They could get on with a remote exploit. They can get on with supply chain. They can get on with compromising someone in your organization. Maybe someone has medical problems and you're not giving them the attention they need, or they can't pay the medical bills. Well, that's why they breached medical industries, to look at people. Oh, Zhao has this cancer and he can't get treatment for it. They find the medical record. They approach Zhao and said, we can help you with this. He takes a thumb drive, puts it in a computer, just for a few minutes, and then that's all he has to do is giving them access. C2, command and control, it's how they control things. And the objectives, well, it just depends. Critical infrastructure, having the power to be able to do whatever they want, protect themselves in cyber warfare. There's so many objectives. Vault 7, the CIA leaks, public information. These are an example of some tools. The CIA does things differently. They are kind of tricky. There's tools, they give them cool names like Weeping Angel, Marble Framework, Fine Dining. That sounds like a great thing. Yeah, it's not if it's happening to you. You know, I hate to say this, but I'm going to tell you. Everybody uses WhatsApp. It's secure, right? It's communication, it's encrypted. Well, CIA would just get on the device. It's not encrypted when you're on the phone. It's not encrypted when you're on the computer in the transmission, so bypass the whole transmission. Hammer drill. Software installation. I know CDs and DVDs are gone, but they can infiltrate ISOs that you download for installing software, operating systems. It's endless. This was published in, I think, March. 2017 was a bad year for CIA and NSA. A lot of their tools a small amount of their tools got leaked, but enough to open your eyes to see what was going on. What did they have? Frameworks. They have their own frameworks, their own communication paths, all operating systems. Nothing's immune. Windows, Linux, Mac OS, Android, iPhone, they're all available to them. 0 days for all of these. Persistence, how do they stay on? If I asked someone in here to explain how they persist in UEFI, a lot of you probably don't even know what that is. Surveillance tools. They turn your TVs on and listen to you. You're all going to go home and turn everything off. But the TVs, the dishwasher, the washing machine, all the new products have wireless built into them. Do you know if it has a microphone? Do you? I mean, who knows? There's the obfuscation, like I said, false flag. They're set in foreign language to make it think it's something else. They bypass the encryption through different devices. There's Signal and WhatsApp. And command and control. They have complete control of this whenever they want. They maintain these operating systems. Do you know that APTs are better admins than some of your own admins? If they see malware, they don't want to draw attention to that box that they're on. They clean it up. They patch your software. You ever see something that got patched and you're like, I don't remember doing that. That's good. Yeah, maybe not. Additional text, slow and stealthy, like ransomware. They infiltrate your network. They get you. They smash and grab, take you hostage, encrypt everything, and they let you know. Pay your Bitcoin to this account. APTs are not like this. They don't want any attention. They don't want you to know they're there. They might issue one command a day. They might copy one file in a week because they don't want you to know. It's one file. It's not going to draw a lot of attention. Hiding in the noise. They look Windows. If you're a more advanced technical person, you know Windows makes a lot of noise on the network. They know how to communicate through that noise. Okay, technical deep dive. Advanced, not so technical that you're going to lose me, but I'll try to explain. Fileless malware. So in the day when antivirus was popular, it was based on a signature of a file that was put down. Everybody knows, don't put down a file unless it's absolutely important. They've found ways to make things just in memory. They don't exist as files. It's really hard to detect something in memory more than it is when it's on disk. Fileless malware, BYOVD. Does anybody know what that means? The new technique that's happened over the last, I'd say, well, it's been happening more than the public knows, but over the last 5 years, bring your own vulnerable driver. So they bring drivers that are legitimate drivers. So you install a piece of software and it has a driver that it needs to communicate. Maybe an IoT device for your house, a security lock, whatever it is. There's a vulnerability in it. They just install it. It's allowed. It's for good reason, right? But they use it and leverage it to get their things on the system to let it work. The shadow brokers, we talked about this. NSA's Equation Group, 2016. Frameworks, 0 days. Windows and network devices, backdoors, they have everything. This is stuff that's not normally available on the internet. They have their own library of tools of 0 days. And I mean a lot of 0 days, pretty much anything you can name. I have the most secure patched version. No, you don't. Not for them. Because they have vendors that work for them that their night and day job is to find a vulnerability in everything. Everything, no matter what it is. WannaCry, NotPetya, and others. 10 minutes, okay. I think we're good. Does anybody here have heard of Stuxnet? It was an attack against Iranian centrifuges. A closed network. Well, we have a closed network, no connection to the internet. Well, it didn't help them, did it? Software was released into their network called Stuxnet that basically told the safety software, everything's fine. I'm spinning up wildly out of control and we're going to explode, but let everybody know everything's fine. You're safe, don't worry. And then boom, it all goes. This can happen very easily to anybody, no matter what country. It can happen to the US, it can happen to Russia, China. And the thing is, a lot of times they know the intruders are there, and it's like a game, like a trade-off game. Well, we know your hackers are in our network, and our hackers are in your network. We'll leave you alone if you leave us alone. That's insanity, right? But it exists. It's a thing. So WannaCry and NotPetya were developed because when they did Stuxnet, there were 0-day exploits embedded in Stuxnet. That's how it spread. It didn't need anything special. It just pointed and clicked, and basically it was a worm that got onto all the networks, gathered credentials, and kept continuing on. WannaCry and NotPetya were someone reverse engineered Stuxnet, and they took those exploits and they said, well, now I'm going to use it for my intentions. Those were developed because of the nation-state tool that was released and caught. Okay? It was too late, but it did its job. And also, the thing is, these nation-state tools, sometimes they make mistakes, crazy mistakes. Anybody knows what RFC 1918 is? It's when things are a private network, like your home network, 10.10, 192.168, whatever it is, shouldn't be routable on the internet, and it wasn't. But Stuxnet spread globally to networks all over the world. How did that happen? Well, someone probably took a thumb drive from the Iranian nuclear plant and went to Holiday Inn or Hilton or whatever the hotel was, plugged it in, got their internet, and spread the virus in their private network. What do? It's not easy. Everything you can afford to do. Zero trust, SIMs, detection through behavior and analytics, and threat intelligence. All important things. Let's see, this one might have the thing out of it. Okay, this had audio with it, but it's okay, because it looks like it's gone, but that's fine. This is what I said. They're 15 years or longer. They're in your networks. It's hard to believe it, but they're there. I'm not saying everybody, but there's a good chance. Let's see, the future of nation-state operations. So everybody's using Chat, GPT, and AI, and there's a lot of talks on AI. If you want to find an answer to something, you check with AI. Well, AI is getting hacked. If you start relying on AI to provide your answers, you better fact-check it. There have been court cases in the United States that have won based on cases that were compiled by AI. You know what? After the case was won, they realized the case didn't exist. AI made up a case based on real information, but it totally didn't exist. And the case was won. There are a lot of problems. If you see it, you believe it. People Google things. I know you shouldn't believe everything you read, but people are doing this. AI can be hacked. It can be manipulated to change people's minds, cause all kinds of chaos. You've seen the deep fakes for video. They're just amazing. You could have your president come on and say, we're declaring a national emergency. You know, how do you know it's real or not? There's a lot of things. Cognitive warfare. How many? I got 3 minutes? How much do I have left? Am I done? 6 minutes, okay. Cognitive warfare, line between cybersecurity and psychological. If I tell you the power is going to go out in Portugal for 1 week, what are you going to do? Like, no one's going to want to be around. They're going to go crazy and buy all the food and water. It's going to cause all kinds of disruptions. Psychologically, it might not even be true. Maybe it is. It changes the public opinion. You know, hackers could say, we're going to do this and that and do what we say. It creates all kinds of fear. The digital arms race, there's a lot of power in having control of the internet. If I turned off the internet, how many of you would be able to function? You may not be able to buy anything in the store. You become so reliant on your phones. You've been reliant on electronic devices, stores, the doors to open in stores. I mean, your car to open. I shouldn't do this, but I have a device in my pocket that someone's not going to like. This is available on the internet. It's called the Flipper Zero. It's this right here. If I turn this on, anybody with an iPhone is going to start to see special things. It's just in a demo mode. I'm not doing anything malicious, so please don't think that. I'm not going to turn it on because I don't want to have any problems. You can turn off all the monitors. It can open door locks. It can open cars. I've demonstrated this to some of my class, which are sitting in the front row, so kind of them, critiquing me. So, but they've seen me open a Tesla gas cap, other things like that. Control infrared devices, every frequency. This thing is scary. If you turn this on in an airplane, you're probably not going to live to tell the story. This is not allowed on aircraft, by the way. It shouldn't be, at least. Yeah, the internet is kind of like one big place right now. I envision the future where it's going to be like, there are going to be international boundaries drawn. We control this part of the internet, this country, they control another part, because you need to be able to protect your own area. Quantum, and this is a whole topic in itself, I'm not going to go into it, but quantum technology, everything is breaking encryption. Everything that's encrypted is being captured by somebody. What can they do with the encrypted data? Probably nothing at this point. Quantum is going to change that. They're going to be able to go back in time and read everything that was encrypted for whatever, the last 10, 15 years. That's going to happen. I'm sure they're all, the APTs are, I know they're collecting all the encrypted information. So whatever you said from this point back is probably going to be exposed. maybe publicly or maybe not. VPNs, we all know about that. Offense, you can do a lot more damage with offense now because AI helps you find ways to get around security software if it's misused. There's something just yesterday, the day before, a group was trying to, they were using it to find ways to evade security software. Somebody vigilant actually caught it and kind of stopped that from happening. But it happens on a regular basis. I use it for demonstration purposes. Firewalls can't stop people. They stop people from doing things if they're done right. But if I can't get into your system or your network, I go to the lowest common denominator, someone in that company. Some people would take $100 to put a thumb drive or 100 euros, a thumb drive into their computer system for just a few minutes. What could it hurt? So, hunting and saying the future of nation-state cybersecurity is not technical, it's essential. It won't be one, it won't just be data breaches or how it's being hacked. It'll touch the foundations of how people work, their trust, what they believe in, how truth is defined. That's it. That's all I got.